Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but f your feelings. Look at this chart. Have you seen my "In this house we believe" lawn sign? See, it says right on it, we believe in science. Right, which is why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched.
Not too long ago, we dropped a video exposing how Bill Maher, the same diehard lefty, completely tore into his own presidential pick, Kamala Harris. But what we didn't cover was the juicy backstory behind this whole mess. That's exactly what we're breaking down today. Why did Maher suddenly turn on someone he actually voted for? And get this, he even had a few kind words for Trump. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Hit that button so you never miss an upload.
Harris would be the first woman president, first black woman president, and first Asian president. But I don't vote for who will be the first. I vote for who will win. And for whatever reason, Harris has never been popular. You can count the number of delegates she won in the 2020 primaries on one hand, as long as that hand has no finger.
And most painfully obvious, reason Bill Maher couldn't bring himself to vote for Kamala Harris, she was about as popular as a root canal, and not just with conservatives. Her own party wanted nothing to do with her. But did that stop her campaign from trying to force-feed her to the public, like the latest cringy TikTok trend? They paraded out every celebrity they could find: Mindy Kaling, Meghan Markle, Lizzo, hoping some borrowed star power would magically make Kamala likable. They staged influencer collabs, awkward cooking segments, and even had her dancing on camera, as if TikTok moves were the secret sauce to winning elections. Maher, being Maher, saw right through it and hit back with his signature sarcasm. What every voter really wants is a VP who can bust a move on social media. Some still push the excuse that Kamala's unpopularity was just because she had a short campaign window. That excuse is as weak as her approval ratings. The real issue, even if Joe Biden himself had run, he would have hit the same wall, because the Democrats' policies were about as appealing as a warm glass of expired milk. Take their relentless push for EV mandates, forcing Americans to ditch gas-powered cars, whether they wanted to or not. Turns out, not everyone's eager to drop Tesla money just to virtue signal at a stoplight. Then there's their soft-on-crime stance, where shoplifters stroll out of stores like they're on supermarket sweep. Voters weren't thrilled about skyrocketing car prices and criminals getting a free pass. Who could have seen that coming? But hey, that's just one reason Maher couldn't bring himself to vote for Kamala: her sheer incompetence.
3 years as vice president, she's been quieter than an electric car. Sometimes life isn't fair. It's not fair that she's not popular. She's intelligent and accomplished, and in fact was put in charge of the border. And look at how... Okay, bad example.
Beyond being wildly unpopular, Kamala Harris also landed squarely in Bill Maher's crosshairs for one simple reason. She was shockingly and honestly, who could argue? She was given one of the administration's biggest challenges, the border crisis, and what did she do? Treated it like an annoying group project she wanted no part of. Instead of tackling the issue head-on, she was practically MIA. And when she finally made the trip to the border, after months of pressure, it felt more like a carefully staged PR stunt than real leadership. Her grand solution? A couple of vague speeches about root causes, and a half-hearted diplomatic tour where she basically told migrants, do not come. Inspiring stuff. If you think Maher was...
What I was asking was it a mistake to kind of allow that flood to happen in the first place?
I think the policies that we have been proposing are about fixing a problem, not promoting a problem.
Illegal crossings surged, cities were overwhelmed, and the rest of us were left wondering, does our so-called border czar even know where the border is? Every time she was pressed on the issue, she responded with an incoherent word salad. It was like watching a student desperately trying to hit a word count on an essay they didn't study for. Crisis wasn't just a policy failure. It was a preview of what America could expect if Kamala ever took full control. And let's just say, she didn't exactly pass with flying colors. Rather than confronting the problem, she treated it like an annoying inconvenience, dodging responsibility and hoping no one would notice. But people did notice, including Bill Maher, who, despite being a liberal, couldn't ignore the disaster she left in her wake. And that brings us to the third reason Maher completely tore into Kamala: her dishonest. Watch as this CNN picks apart her lies piece by piece.
Under Donald Trump, you criticized the wall more than 50 times. You called it stupid, useless, and a medieval vanity project. Is a border wall stupid?
Well, let's talk about Donald Trump and that border wall. So remember, Donald Trump said Mexico would pay for it? Come on, they didn't. How much of that wall did he build? I think the last number I saw is about 2%.
To fix the problem, you're doing this compromise bill. It does call for $650 million that was earmarked under Trump to actually still go to build the wall.
I am not afraid of good ideas where they occur, Anderson.
So you don't think it's stupid anymore?
I think what he did and how he did it did not make much sense because he actually didn't do much of anything. We just talked about it. He didn't actually do much of anything.
But you do want to build some wall.
Kamala Harris was one of the loudest voices slamming Trump's border wall until, well, she wasn't. Back in 2019, she ripped it apart, calling it a medieval vanity project and a total waste of taxpayer dollars. She even voted against funding it in the Senate, making her opposition crystal clear. But fast forward to 2023, the Biden administration was quietly approving new border wall construction in Texas. Who could have seen that coming? Border crisis wasn't going to magically fix itself. And when Harris was confronted about this massive flip-flop, she did what she does best. Enter Anderson Cooper, who actually called her out during an interview. And he pointed out that yes, the administration was building more wall. Harris confidently responded, "No, we're not." Probably resisting the biggest role of his career, had to remind her that the Department of Homeland Security had already confirmed the Classic Harris, caught in a lie, dodging reality and hoping no one would notice. But Maher, along with plenty of Americans, and that brings us to yet another reason he decided to roast his own presidential pick, her stale, outdated policies.
Shocker that the people who see everything through the lens of race and see their election loss as a result of racism and sexism. Kamala spent 100 days telling voters, I know it feels like crime and illegal immigration are bad, but feelings, look at this chart. Have you seen my "In this house we believe" lawn sign? See, it says right on it, we believe in science. Right, which is why you demanded no one even debate whether COVID could have escaped from the one lab in the one city where they were studying it. How far-fetched.
The left rolled out some of the most mind-numbingly absurd policies. So ridiculous that even die-hard liberals like Bill Maher had to pause and say, wait. It was almost like a contest to see who could push the most outlandish idea while keeping a straight face. Take the whole biological men dominating women's sports debacle. Suddenly, decades of blood, sweat, and sacrifice from female athletes meant nothing, because feelings were now more important than fairness. Women who trained their entire lives for a shot at victory were being overtaken by competitors with a biological advantage. And if you dared to point out the obvious, you were labeled a bigot. Then there was the bizarre contradiction of LGBTQ activists proudly rocking Free Palestine shirts while backing a group that, spoiler alert, doesn't exactly support their existence. Nothing says progressive like championing a cause that would outlaw your rights in a heartbeat. Maher, ever the realist, couldn't help but call out the sheer absurdity of it all. And that brings us to his final reason for roasting Kamala, her signature word salad. Whenever she was backed into a corner, she'd unleash a rambling, incoherent monologue like it was some kind of escape strategy. Don't believe me?
I think it's very important, as you have heard from so many incredible leaders, for us at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand where we exist in the history and in the moment as it relates not only to the past but the future.
Final reason Bill Maher absolutely torched Kamala Harris, her infamous word salad. Anytime she was backed into a corner, whether it was about policy, leadership, or even basic geography, she'd start stringing words together like a glitchy AI bot. It was like shaking a magic 8-ball and praying for a coherent answer. Now, imagine Kamala as president.